Hello and welcome to the Eating Disorder Therapist podcast. I'm Harriet Frew, eating disorder therapist, here to support you in overcoming disordered eating and finding peace with food. So today I'm going to talk about 5 pearls of wisdom I would give to my younger self. I'm particularly thinking about when I was struggling with an eating disorder. So this was from my sort of late teens into my 20s. So number 1. You are not broken, you are surviving. Now, in the depths of an eating disorder, you are feeling such an intense cloak of shame hanging over you. So you're thinking, why can't I just eat normally? Why the voracious appetite? What is wrong with me? And you're thinking back to those early days of dieting. The golden honeymoon of early restriction felt so right. It felt clean, controlled and disciplined. And the desire to return to this situation draws you like a magnet. You're always trying to replicate it. But your days will begin with admirable intentions, only for rules to be broken and binge eating taking over. Harsh restriction is no longer achievable. The willpower and dedication have dried up. But this is not about a lack of willpower, because humans cannot sustain restrictive eating over time periods without disordered eating entering the arena. Restriction is so powerful for body and mind. So, words of wisdom to my younger self around this topic. The focus on food and body is a survival strategy. It is a distraction from the inner turmoil and conflicting feelings. It is an attempt to feel enough when you feel everything but this. You are not broken, you are surviving. Be kind and compassionate with yourself. Number 2, value connection over validation. So getting thinner feels like winning. It brings shiny glimmers of achievement and worth. You're validated for this and people even ask you for advice. And the recognition from others feels affirming and correct. It feels like you're doing something right. You're fitting in. You look as though you have it all together. And the outer icing feels important to cover the inner crumbling cake. Internally, you are struggling beyond belief. Deep down, the superficial comments from others are a sticky plaster over a gaping wound. So the words of advice. Deep down, you wish to be seen and known for you. You wish for acceptance and understanding. You're seeking love and connection. And you don't realise this. You're chasing the external to try and fill the empty hole inside. But it's like filling a bottomless bucket with no amount of validation ever being enough. You have yet to learn about self-love and what this means. You will get there. Number 3, boundaries can protect you. You are boundaryless, and this is wreaking havoc with your emotional well-being. You feel that you must be all things to all people. Therefore, you have no anchor or sense of self. Rather, you are blown by the winds of other people's whims and desires. No wonder this is discombobulating and confusing. In any people situation, you scan the landscape of emotions and expectations and you conform and perform. Making others comfortable is the primary priority. This means that you abandon yourself multiple times every day. So the words of wisdom. You have been conditioned to feel guilty for having your basic needs met. This is no one's fault. It's transgenerational trauma, unconsciously passing the baton without awareness. But you're allowed to have boundaries and to protect yourself. You can tune into your own needs, wants and desires. And you can tell people when they have crossed the lines. And it's going to take time to learn these skills, but you will get there. Number 4, people pleasing robs you of authenticity. You people please for survival as it's learned and familiar. It feels safer than risking abandonment and rejection. But it's also destroying your relationships as they're not authentic and real. They're based on a perception of you as you twist and conform to seek approval. And this is understandably hugely challenging to sustain. And your anger often leaks out through avoiding people or ejecting the relationship out of the blue. Then you feel intense guilt and shame for hurting the other person, and you people please more and perpetuate the cycle. So the words of wisdom. Safe relationships will provide a training ground for openness and authenticity. And to begin with, it will feel excruciatingly painful and icky to acknowledge your needs. You'll feel too much. The shame will envelope you and sometimes drown you, but you are not too much. You are enough as yourself. Value the close and connected relationships where you can be truly authentic. And number 5, you don't have to do everything alone. You're always taking responsibility for everything and everyone as you felt that you needed to when growing up. It feels unsafe to ask for help, and it brings anxiety around the lack of control and unpredictability. And you don't trust that others could meet your needs anyway, so you don't even give them the chance. This means that you struggle alone and pretend to be the super coper. It's exhausting and involves constant striving and anxiety. You can't switch off and fully relax. You're always overthinking and trying to control. So words of wisdom. People want to help you and can make life so much easier for you. You don't always have to take the difficult road. Why push yourself to the limit unnecessarily? Yes, asking for help may render you feeling messy and invulnerable, but it will also bond you with others in your shared humanity. As you further appreciate that all humans are imperfect and muddling along, and through your vulnerability, you will feel closer and more seen than ever before. So keep trusting and taking baby steps. It is worth it. Okay, thank you so much for listening. If you enjoy this podcast, I'd be so grateful if you'd follow, rate and review, as it helps it reach so many more listeners. Thank you so much for being here, and I look forward to sharing another podcast episode with you very soon.